Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I'm your host, Hery Acosta. Let's hop straight into it and talk about the Pacers game today, in which they play the Charlotte Hornets. Now, the Hornets have actually been picking it up recently. They're currently 28 and 31, meaning the Hornets are in the play-in tournament. It's been a while since we've seen the Hornets genuinely pick up the slack and just start playing very good. But it's simple. Just look at the players that they have gotten this year and the players that are actually stepping it up. Brandon Miller's having a good season, 20 points per game, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. LaMelo Ball, 19, 7, and 5. Con Kneppel, probably second place in Rookie of the Year right now, could even be first, averaging 19.3 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, shooting 43% from three. And he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league as a rookie. He's already smashing records, as young as he is, already smashing records. Plus, Miles Bridges is having a pretty good season at 18 points per game, and they have Kobe White now, so that's always gonna be helpful. Plus, one of the best for his minutes played, one of the best rebounders in the league, in Musa Diabiti. He's been playing incredible this year. So, a lot to look at when it comes to those players, but for the Pacers themselves, we just continue to be injured. We continue to not have a lot of starting players on the floor. So I can't even like dictate who's gonna be in the starting lineup because every day there's a different starting lineup. I think we've had 36 different starting lineups this year. But look for Cam Jones to potentially be in the starting lineup along with if Nemhard's healthy, him, and then Jarris Walker will most likely be on the starting lineup along with Jay Huff, and hopefully Siakam is playing. So hoping to see him. Just because I just want to continue to see our players just continue to grow and stuff. I don't really, it doesn't really matter if we win or lose, of course, but a win here and there isn't going to kill you. Now, obviously, you want to get a top four pick for a great player, and then next year it's just going to be a different story. But speaking of injury report, let's talk about ours. We currently have 7 players on the injury report, and one of them I'm going to talk about by themselves. But here's the first six. Halliburton and Furphy, of course, season ending. Zubac still out, Neesmith still out, and Neesmith's ankle injury. There's still no full like time when he's gonna come back. It's saying at least a week with this injury, which sucks because Neesmith has been having his fair share of injury problems recently. I mean, last year he only played 45 games. He's only played 33 this season. So over the last couple of seasons, it's just been injuries on top of injuries, and kind of the same with Andrew Nemhard. He's been not having the best health either. Well, yeah, last year he played 65, which I mean would have made him still eligible for like any awards, but he's played 46 games this year out of the 59. So his injuries are not as bad, but still missing a decent amount of games. Zubac, I mean, we just don't want to rush him, honestly. But the main story is this guy. Obi Toppin has been out since October with a stress fracture in his foot. He averaged 14 points, almost 7 rebounds, and a steal per game. The 3 games he played with stat lines of 25 and 3, 19, 13, 9 and 2, and then 9 and 6. Pretty good games. He had a steal and 2 steals along those games too. He was on pace to actually having a very good six-man of the year season, but you know, one injury and everything just goes away. That's just how it's been for us. But let's say he comes back during this game because at first it was not even it was probably 8 days ago when Carlisle came out and said that there was no timetable for him returning at all, just because there wasn't like a full load of progress or there just wasn't a lot of news out about his condition and just what was going on with his foot. But out of nowhere, it came to a surprise that a few hours ago, they mentioned that he might actually be back for the Hornets game. If not this game, then it's going to be the next game. But he had a procedure in late October for his stress fracture, and this could be his first regular season games. Is October 26th when we played the Timberwolves. But he's obviously gonna be on minutes restriction if he comes back, whether he comes back today or whether he comes back next week or if he doesn't come back at all. But if he does come back, especially if he comes back today, he is probably going to play 10 minutes, maybe 15 max. But if he's been working on 5v5 drills, also speaking of 5v5 drills, I've never seen someone go so fast in an Achilles like recovery because it looks like Jason Tatum genuinely might actually come back this year. And if he does, that is kind of scary because the Celtics already look so good without him. You just add another future Hall of Famer to that lineup, and that's scary. But there's gonna be one of these days where I just talk about my opinions on who's gonna be NBA champ because I honestly have a few teams in mind, and like obviously the Thunder are one of them, but I have other teams that I genuinely think could give them a run for their money. Now, last but not least, let's talk about something I've been talking about a lot recently with the whole tanking situation. Now, the first thing I want to talk about actually is some comments that I heard from Rick Carlisle. Now, Rick Carlisle is not one to beat around the bush. He says what's up. He has always been truthful. And he said that the NBA had asked them to give some kind of injection or some kind of medicine to Aaron Neesmith for him to play on pretty much a ankle sprain. And Carlisle said, no, that's not happening. And we got fined $100,000 because we actually had an injury. I don't understand this. Like I understand you're trying to avoid tanking, but the dude's got a literal high ankle sprain. And you're just wanting him to play. And if we say, no, we want to make sure our player doesn't, you know, injure himself worse, or our player, or literally cannot walk on the court right now, you cannot make him play basketball. That is crazy. I think Adam Silver, you gotta work on that, man, because that genuinely is insane to see that as a Pacers fan, and seeing other teams, just get away with more blatant tanking than what we are, like the Kings, like that's blatant. The Jazz, obviously you've already punished the Jazz, but now Laurie Markkinen is hurt, and we don't even see these injuries happen in person or at all. Like all these are just behind the scenes injuries that keep happening at practice. So either something's going on at practice or they're genuinely just making stuff up. I think the only genuine injury that I've seen is the Walker Kessler one because that happened way before. It happened like 6 games into the year. But enough of that. I just think it's kind of wild that you would genuinely look at a coach and say, "Hey, give this guy a cortisone shot and make him play." That is not your decision. That is the Pacers' decision. We roster these players. We pay these players. You don't. Like, yes, you are the commissioner of the NBA. Great. But you're also trying way too hard to cut down on something that. Have you seen the Pacers lineups this year? You think we wanted those lineups? No. We have genuinely just been hurt here, hurt there, losing Neesmith for most of the beginning of the season, Matherin for most of the beginning of the season. McConnell was out for like the first 11 games. Yet you think we were blatantly tanking. No, we just genuinely have zero health. Like if you were looking at our 2K ratings for every player right now on the Pacers, everyone's health would be like a zero except for like Jarris Walker. Because Jarris Walker actually plays every game pretty much. And Jay Huff as well. Jay Huff I think is the only player that's played every game so far this year. So props to him. But you see a lot of our players injury like rating at like 100 and their health at zero. But as always, I'm your host, Eddie Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby. And go, Sirs.